All right, thank you guys. I wrote my first Yelp review yesterday, and I'll tell you what, it wasn't a good one. We'll get to that at the end of the program. But anyway, Chelsea takes on Norwich, 3:15 p.m. Chelsea's the $7 favorite. Total's 3.5, juice to the under. The draw is plus $8. And if you like Norwich City in an upset, they're plus 1,800 for some money line cash. I went 4-1 in my 5 premium selections on patreon.com/rockpage. And of course, that's a website where I sell sports picks beginning at just $1.99. We're also 4-0 in our last 4 daily best play tier package picks as well. For more information about getting access to these premium sports picks, a link for that website is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/rockpage. Now, Norwich got blasted by 16th place West Ham United by the final of 4-0 in their last outing. They also lost 2-1 to Watford in their match before that, who just so happens to be tied with West Ham in the standings for that 16th place spot. So really getting beat up by the 16th place guys. Norwich is currently on an 8-match losing streak and scored a total of just 2 goals in those 8 contests. Good for just .25 goals per contest on average. Now, Norwich is currently in last place out of 20 teams in the EPL. Winners of just 5 out of 35 contests. They also rank dead last in scoring, averaging just .74 goals per contest. And one more thing to add, if you think it's just offense they're bad at, keep in mind this Norwich squad also ranks dead last in total goals allowed as well. Struggling defensively. They are taking on a Chelsea squad who won 2 out of their last 3, including a 3-0 shutout victory over Watford. They're also 7-2 straight up in their last 9, holding their opponents scoreless in 4 of those contests. Now, Chelsea currently sits in 3rd place in the English Premier League with 18 wins, 11 losses, and 6 draws. Chelsea also ranks 4th in scoring. And speaking of the scoring in this one, 2 out of Chelsea's last 3 stayed under the total of 3.5 goals. 9 out of their last 13 stayed under that number as well. Meanwhile, on the other side, 2 out of Norwich's last 3 stayed under the 3.5 themselves. 14 out of their last 16 also stayed under the 3.5. Give me Chelsea -1 and the under 3.5 in that match. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the video. Got some lines of personal leans out for Tuesday's international soccer action. But before we dive into some more of that, I just have to quickly remind you that after Sunday's sports wagering action, we went 4-1 in our 5 premium plays on patreon.com/Brockpage yesterday. And despite a terrible experience at a local restaurant, it didn't keep us down because we had a great day yesterday. We're also 4-0 at our last 4 daily best play tiered package selections as well. If you want some more information on how you can join in on the action, link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/Brockpage. Moving on, Atalanta takes on Brescia in Italian Serie A action, and that's going to be a 3:45 p.m. Eastern start time. Atalanta's the $6.50 favorite, totals 3.5, juice to the over. The draw is plus 650, and if you like Brescia to win it, they're plus 1,400 for some money line cash. Now, Brescia got shut out by Roma 3-0 in their last outing. They also lost 3-1 to Torino in their match before that. Now, Brescia is averaging just .7 goals per contest in their last 10. They've also been victorious in just 1 out of their last 18, and they were held scoreless in 7 of those contests. Now, Brescia is currently in 19th place out of 20 teams in Italian Serie A, winners in just 5 out of 32 contests on the season. They're also averaging just .87 goals per contest on the season as well, which is 19th out of 20 teams in that category. One more thing to add, Brescia also ranks 19th out of 20 teams in total goals allowed. Well, that shouldn't bode too well for him because we're looking at an Atlanta squad who leads the league in scoring right now. Just offensive juggernauts. They've got 87 goals on this season, which is actually 15 more than Lazio, who ranks second in that category. Atlanta has scored multiple goals in 13 out of their last 14. And they haven't lost a match in their last 14 straight either. They've averaged 3.1 goals per contest during those 14. Atlanta's currently 20-5 on the season with 7 draws, and that's good for third place in the league and just 1 point behind second place Lazio. Now, Atlanta also ranks 4th in total goals allowed. And speaking of the total in this one, 7 out of Atlanta's last 10 got over the total of 3.5 goals. Meanwhile, 3 out of Brescia's last 5 got over that number themselves. Give me Atlanta laying 2 goals for plus $1.10 in the over 3.5 in that match. All right, next contest, it's going to be in the Portuguese Primeira Liga. I'm talking about Portimonense taking on Boa Vista, 2:15 p.m. Eastern start time. Portimonense's minus 154, totals 2.5, juice to the under. The draw's plus 245, and if you like Boa Vista in an upset, they're plus $5 to do it. And speaking of Boa Vista, they've won 3 out of their last 6, including 2 shutout victories during that span. They beat Santa Clara 1-0, along with beating 4th place Sporting Braga by the final of 1-0 as well. Now, needless to say, Boa Vista has given up just 1 total goal in their last 3 wins. They are taking on a Portimonense team who lost to Rio Ave 2-1 in their last outing themselves. They also got shut out 1-0 by Vitória Setúbal in their last outing before that. Portimonense's been victorious in only 3 out of their last 16, and they were held scoreless in 6 of those matches. Now, Portimonense is currently in second to last place in the 18-team Primeira Liga. They've garnered the W in just 5 out of 31 contests. They're also averaging just .81 goals per contest, and they rank 14th in total goals allowed. Now, when it comes to the scoring in this one, Portimonense saw 2 out of their last 3 stay under the total of 2.5 goals. 7 out of their last 11 also stayed under that number. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Boa Vista saw 2 out of their last 3 stay under the 2.5. Also, 14 out of their last 18 also stayed under that total. So with all that said and done, give me Boa Vista in the double chance. That's going to be plus $1.15 for Boa Vista double chance and the under 2.5 in that contest. All right, next and final matchup for the show, it's going to be in the English Championship. I'm talking about Cardiff City taking on Derby County, 2:45 p.m. East. Cardiff City's the plus money favorite in this one. They're plus $1.20 with the total at 2.5 goals. The draw's plus 250. If you like Derby to win it, they're plus 220 for an upset victory. Now, Derby's lost only 3 out of their last 11, and they garnered solid victories over the likes of Preston North End, Reading, and Millwall, just to name a few. They shut out their opponents in 2 out of their last 4 victories as well. They currently rank 9th out of 24 teams in total scoring. They're taking on a Cardiff club who's coming fresh off a 2-0 shutout loss to Fulham in their last outing themselves. They also got beat 3-2 by Blackburn before that. Now, Cardiff's been victorious in just 1 out of their last 4, and they were held scoreless by 21st place Charlton Athletic during that stretch. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Cardiff's last 4 stayed under the total of 2.5 goals. 5 out of their last 7 also stayed under that number. Meanwhile, on the Derby side, 3 out of their last 4 stayed under the 2.5 themselves. So with all that said and done, give me Derby County double chance and the under 2.5 in that match. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs, and we're going to start in our Patreon platform. Shout out to Jared Henderson, Robert Morelli, Jose Gonzalez, Ezekiel Morales, Frank Supa, Valentin Anachili, John Kirkland, Chris Stevenson, Greg Gant, and Patrick Martinez. Next, from our Instagram platform, shout out to Will Slade, Thomas Geisler, Anthony Otoye, Consuelo Anderson, the Blue Jays Today podcast. Also want to give a shout out to Bubba Jonesy, Xyloid Plastic, J Mobile Kulsari, Keaton Johnson, and Sanmila Maya. And finally, from our YouTube platform, shout out to Stephen Lewis, Star Sports FIFA, Tommy Lee, SOP Striker, Michael Pescatori. Also want to give a shout out to my good friend Andrew Stirrup from the Bahamas, Roy Munson, Bullion Cube 911, Richard Sutherland, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my man, Haven't seen him in a while. Great to see him back in the comment section. I'm talking about Julian Garcia. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. But most importantly, guys, I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Now, if you're wondering, I opened up the show with talking about giving my first Yelp review. I've never been on Yelp, but I had to do it yesterday because I was so furious. I was so irate. And I know it sounds like over the past few days I've been complaining a lot, and the fact of the matter is I have. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being treated like crap. Like, I get it. I do it here on YouTube. I get trolled a little bit. That's fine. I can handle that. But when I'm, when it's happening in my everyday real life, one, it doesn't sound believable, but it's happening. And yesterday, I was fortunate to have witnesses. So yesterday, my mother visited me. She's in the area. She lives in Florida, but she's in the area for a couple weeks. So we met up in the area to have some dinner, and my wife and mother-in-law joined us. And, well, I'll tell you what, right off the bat, before we entered the restaurant we met at, they had a sign on the door. And I actually have a picture of the sign. I'll read it to you when I'm done with this rant. But basically, it said, if you're afraid to come in, go home. No masks required. But so that set the tone. That should have been a red flag to just go away. But we were like, no big deal. So we went in, and literally within the first 15 seconds, the girl asked me, the waitress asked me, what do I want? And I'm looking at the menu, and I'm like, oh man, I can't find it. I'll take the I think it's an appetizer. I'll take the mushroom thing you got here. And right away she's like, what mushroom thing? Is that a new item on the menu? I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm just like, look at her. Then I look at my mom, mother-in-law, and I'm like, look, the only mushroom thing that's on the menu. And she still wasn't getting it. So my wife was like, he wants the fried mushrooms as an appetizer. So I know that's disgusting, but I like it. So she writes it down. Then I give her my order. And she takes my wife's order, takes the mother-in-law's order, very short, very snippy. And then it goes to my mom. And I was hyping up these wings. This restaurant has great wings, and it was a wing special that day. I think it was like 12 for $8 or something like that. So I told my mom, I was like, you definitely want to get the wings. So she asked the girl, she goes, when I order the wings, does the sauce come on the wings or does it come on the side? Because sometimes you get wings that you get them naked and the sauce is on the side. So she just wanted to know how the wings were going to be prepared. So she asked her, do the wings come, does the sauce come on the wings or does the sauce come on the side? And the girl's like, we put the sauce on the wings. We put the sauce on the wings here. And my mom's just like looking at me. And it was really, really awkward, really uncomfortable. There was a couple not so pleasantries exchanged, and then the girl leaves, and I look at my mom. I said, this happens everywhere we go. We did not provoke this lady to bite our heads off. Like, she just came out of the gate within 15 seconds, just mad at us. And so the worst part was they weren't even busy. There was like nobody in there. And not only was she was upset at my mom, but she said, we normally put the sauce on the wings. Do you need more time to order? We were so mad. So anyway, we didn't see her for another 45 minutes. I only got one beer with dinner. Drinks didn't get refilled. It was a horrible experience. And the girl that treated us like crap, she didn't even bring out the food. Somebody else brought out the food. So it was a horrible experience. But like, this is the kind of stuff we were dealing with, guys. They had a sign on the front of the door. Yeah, it says, attention. Our freedom doesn't end where your fear begins. If you're scared, stay home. If you're afraid to be within 6 feet of another person, do not enter this business. God bless America, land of the free and home of the brave. That's literally on the front door as you walk in. That should have been the red flag, like, dude, hightail it out of there. But yeah, so not only were we treated like absolute garbage, but we were exposed to coronavirus as well. So I did not write such a pleasant Yelp review yesterday. It was the first one I've ever done. It was the first time I've ever been motivated to write a Yelp review, and I've been treated like trash a lot. And there it is. So, not such a great story, but I'll tell you what, man, when, we're not like bothering you by going out and I'm not going to say we're doing you a favor, but these restaurants, these small businesses, they've been closed for 4 months. We're just trying to patronize your business. Don't berate us for showing up. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Monday or Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/rockpage.